doesn't mess up. Sound is working. Test, test. Okay. Let's go ahead and start with Salzetsu and penguins. So nowadays we see this, but this type of stuff is pretty negligible. Um, I think this is fine. Backpack's off. Normally you would play here, and then the situation would repeat, and then you can go ahead and play along this line here. Normally you'd play something like this, and then a large fight would break out. AI nowadays will say to attach, and it kind of just leans into this type of thing where you give your opponent the side, and then you would end up playing another move, leaving the group to be attacked. Tanuking is fine. You'll just find that your opponent is able to take control of the board this way. So already pincered. One way to think about it is like you would want to play low for like eye shape, but in this case, like the normal way of playing this is we get this and we make this shape, but we can see that white is going to get a wall here, and then our thickness that we have is facing the bottom, right? So in this case, I might just not do any sort of invasion. I might play something like this, or I would do the attachment. So if they connect and I play here, uh, I guess you should push one more time. So when you play like this, they usually end up connecting or making some sort of outside shape. And this gives you the corner, forcing them to consolidate everything on the side. And then within the same principle, you would be playing to reduce, and you already have the stone, so we no longer have to go back. We can also play here, but it might be a little bit more dangerous. So if the opponent plays like this, then I would go back to um, taking just taking large points of the board. So, something like this. In the actual game, when we play here, it's kind of almost the same principle, right? Like you're giving your opponent this area here while running with the stones. So now, like when you run, your stones aren't really going anywhere, and like if you do something against the corner, say something like this, right? You're actually just helping them. And if you play here, you can probably get some. Actually, I think this would work for white, but sorry, for black. The idea being that these stones would be captured, but we would get a move here to go down. But we're not really doing much with this space here. And in the actual game, white continued attacking. I would have gone for the base. So with something like this, I guess we could play here, force them to do one of two things. If they come back, then we can just fix our shape. Generally with something by going down. Um, if they continue outwards, I guess let's do like if we take the base, right? Something like this, and just consider taking the points here. Black script is not alive, right? But if you play here, right, and you continue worrying about your shape, well, now you have the outside thickness, but black is far from going to be dying. They have an eye here, and they potentially have half an eye here. Well, I would say they have 1.5 on the left side, right? So now black is free to just take a big move on the board. But when you take the base, they're no longer free. So if they just simply jump, then you can play a bigger move. You can attach, stuff like this, and gain like a more spread out board position, more balanced. In the game, this is the shape that happened. So in order to make this effective, we actually need to play this way. Although it's not 100% effective, obviously, because we have cutting points we need to fix. But this would make it available to like isolate the corner. We don't really need to do that. I also wouldn't play this immediately. I would focus on maybe on there's several things that you can do. Cut, but playing here only strengthens white unless you can make use of the cutting stone directly by like extending. So like we're playing a little bit of Ajikeshi here, and this is cutting the wrong side. This is not a good move. I think white's happy to just take the base, and if you answer, white will Hane, and then the question is, you get to do this, but you have two stones here that are not doing anything. Okay, so in the game, we tried to extend the stones, and white is correctly attacking. However, black should give them up. Probably this is a bit too much. Attacking is correct, but when we allow the opponent to extend, we definitely cannot Hane here. You can take the stone, but then black will break through, and then your whole area is broken. Right? There's no way this black group is going to die. So we should probably defend it efficiently. So something like this. But first we play here. So now when we play here, black can play this. So generally this is kind of the shape that would follow. And then black needs to find a way to make sure that they have two eyes. But generally black kind of made a cutting point that isn't super good in my opinion. So in the game, we played like this. Black turned, extend. In this case, I think you can just connect. The idea being here is with a shape like this, like you can attack this group strongly. But I think extending is fine too. The only issue with extending is like this Hane here. Right? If we play this way, black's not going to care about the one stone, but what they do care about is breaking through. So you wouldn't be able to answer the Hane. And that potentially means that black breaks through or something, but the Aji exists. This one, I would definitely just connect. This Aji is going to continue to exist. Okay, so essentially, wow, we're really bringing a stone out, and we really should just let it. We should really just let it die. It's doing its job, right? We played a move. Our opponent responded to the cut. At this point, if white gets to surround the one stone, that's fine. The goal was to save this group, right? So trying to really save this group is not ideal. This is a lost opportunity. Definitely push first and then Hane. You could play the Atari, but again, you'll lose the Aji down here. At least this way, it's probably more savable. It's a little sketchy. But white getting this for free is not as nice. So the question is whether or not you can play here, and I don't think you can. So we get the, okay, now I see. White, so white has some weird shape going on here. One thing we need to consider is whether or not we need to push and then fix. The idea is that we're fixing the cutting points in this shape. And the other thing is, can we just play here directly? Most likely, you could. The issue is that later, black wants to be able to capture the 5 stone here or the 1 stone. So generally, if you jump out in any capacity or form, black kind of plays in a way that allows them to connect their group up and cut off the 2 stones. And if you play here, then black is happy and they're thicker on the outside compared to pushing first. Well, they might do this, but they're still technically a lot weaker than before. But we have a lot of weaknesses here, and black should really focus on stuff like this in order to kind of save his group. This move, this move probably isn't the best one. Um, Maybe a direct connection might be better, but it leaves a lot of opening. So I'm not quite sure, but uh, this move is definitely wrong. Okay. How to handle this? So in the game of Go, at the end of the game, you need to have more points than your opponent, right? Sometimes just outright killing a large group is great, but when it comes to fighting, we need to have a goal in mind, what we want to get out of fighting. Um, I'm imagining like you play this move, and you're looking to cut your opponent or get the shape right. Um, Black, on the other hand, needs to focus on saving his group. I would just have played this way, because the moment I give Black the opportunity of playing this move, it gives him more outside forcing moves that allows him to save his group. So if we keep it simple like this, now like he doesn't have this stone here on the board. So I should probably just connect directly. So now like he actually needs to add a move in order to protect cutting points. Whereas if we consider this possibility and then he plays here and then just connects, we can't actually cut this shape. Black is going to be able to get this. We can like threaten a lot of things. For example, like making an empty triangle, but that's not good shape. And then with this, there's a ladder, right? So we need to be very careful about the things that we get and how we get them. Even if Black gets this, at this point, he still needs to answer some things. And the other thing is the specific shape that you're getting or going for here. Later, let's say Black makes this shape and we have to protect. Later, Black can play this cut, which is a big move. And the reason I say that is, like, if this cut exists, then theoretically speaking, when Black cuts White off, this group is not fully alive. And because of the cut, there's actually real logi of Black breaking in. Okay, so Black Hanade? Uh, I would. So here's the thing: if my opponent gives me a Puniki, I'm super happy about it. If my opponent extends, I'm happy to make this Atari exchange and then descend. The idea being, like, if they play here, I'm going to give up 3 stones and take the cash on the top side. The center stones are not like in super danger, but also as long as we have, can we? Yeah, it's fine to give it up. You can also play with ideas like this. So locally, Black cannot capture these stones unless they have an extra liberty to force us down and then connect this stone. They need to connect both of these in one move, so we don't have to worry about that. One thing we do probably need to worry about is whether or not we have to worry about this. So like we could definitely be more aggressive. This kind of lets Black off a little too nice. Okay. This is not a big move. It's no longer important. And the reason I say that is locally, Black is out, and they didn't answer a move here, so I would prefer to ask a move, but if you're continuing the attack, that's fine. Uh, Big move. Splitting, right? So here, if we were to do something like this, right, and the opponent comes back and plays here, and then we took the large side, or even we played a Joseki shape here, right? Can you see how the transfer and points here, like, we took away the corner, and the opponent only got 3 stones. So that's one way to think about playing a little bit more efficiently. But this is fine too. The only issue is, Black's going to play here. Are you still going to connect? Because it's essentially the same, right? They're going to get ice space here. The only difference is one is bigger ice space than the other. Okay, so the opponent didn't play that. There's now going to be Aji here. So I would follow this up with, whoops. I would follow up with this move, connect, and then you can bring the stones out like with a jump. There's no reason to save this forcing move, especially since like later you can actually use it. In fact, if I were to play like this, I would start attacking, or maybe not attacking is the right word, but I would then play a large move on the right side, because now attacking my stones is a little bit more difficult. Okay, but white actually gets the first move on the right side, which is not ideal for black. And now white's going to start attacking this group, right? Like you made this shape, we now need to actually focus on saving the stones. So one thing you can do is play some good shapes here. You could probably play this one, follow it up into here, because later you have a. Oh, I don't think that peep works. Maybe not that one. That one, this peep would work. And later you can actually capture a few stones. As long as this group is alive, you would actually get this group. Otherwise, the opponent is giving up way too much, so they'll play like this, and you can capture stones. But generally, your opponent is probably not going to give up these stones if this group is dying. Okay, so we're not saving the correct stone. You can do this. This would connect the group, force them to try to make a shape here to live on the right side while connecting our stones. So if they tried to break through, we can play double tires, and in this case, the only thing that white has is a peep or a double peep. So how does black? Okay, this would be the problem. Force the connection and then connect. I imagine white might try something like this, but you're going to have to give up the stones or try to fight with them. The question is whether or not you can live locally, and actually, you probably can live locally with the Atari here. So, in the game we cut, we connected. Okay, so now we're playing with stones, so we have to. Is that? This is really bad. Yeah. Basically, getting cut here is really bad, and then white being able to come back and attack is really nice. I think we need to play this way, and then we would cut, and you would have to give up the outside stones. If you play here, I think white. I don't know if white can actually. No, I don't think white can actually play this. You die. They die. It's actually not easy for white to cleanly do that. So chances are they might try to live locally with something like this, and then you can give up some outside stones to live on the outside. On the inside, sorry. But attacking this way, I think you're probably assuming that white would play this way, but even if white took the two stones on the right side, like white's virtually unkillable here, and your outside group has no eye shape. So simple peep, and if you disconnect, they can start attacking the one stone and then come out. So now like you can see that white is out, black is surrounded by white on all sides. Taking first of all, oh man, taking the two stones doesn't feel super good. I would play here. This allows you to play the ladder here, but also he can't cut you here. It does allow him to connect up the stones, but there's no cut here for black. Okay, in the game, we can Hana here. So I don't know what to say about the empty triangle, other than this is a bad move. We can Hane here and then extend, and then this group is fully alive. There is some crazy things that players might do if they play this way. You would have to play Ko, but in general, white, this isn't really a Ko that white can play, because when you extend, um, if you exchange the Satari and allow them to capture, then you're in trouble. If you extend, what'll generally happen is you get something like this and the group gets cut off, but we probably should just win the Ko. And I think we can, simply because if you win the Ko, this whole group is in trouble. It's not connected. So there's literally nothing on this board that is going to be big enough for you to answer. Well, maybe except for the fact that the right side's dying, but you can answer, and then white has to come back and answer as well. Okay, so in the actual game, we don't have two eyes. That would happen. So I think we need to play here into something like this. This is kind of what we need to do in order to fight this. I think this is your only option in order to survive with the group. Okay. I'm going to end the review for this game right here, and then we'll move on to the next one. So now we have Harvey versus David, or Dave H. More classic opening. Generally, this is going to be the better corner to enclose, just because the direction that this faces. So it comes out this direction, and the direction that this faces is towards your stone. Whereas, like, if you play here, you're expecting to make something bigger, but your opponent has a stone in that corner. Okay, we jumped out. So we're really low on the right side. The right side is going to be not interesting for, like, the longest period. You can play this way, but if the opponent backs off, or even just kicks, right? If they just kick and jump, you have to make it 2 space base. This isn't ideal either. So you want to play on the bigger side, or even play here. Otherwise, I think the opponent should definitely kick here. This is fine. White's happy. I would play here, though. The reason I play on the bottom is if we play here, the opponent can still play on the bottom. And if you notice, when we try attacking these two stones, they get another move. So it raises their position in the center and kind of like makes the board look as if they're building something, right? And if we play here and they play something like this, it's slightly different in the terms of how we attack them. Because now we can actually split the board ourselves. And even if we were to just simply take the side with something like this, when they attack us, they need to spend a move to attack us, right? And now it looks like these stones are being attacked. If they were to come out, then we can go ahead and shoulder hit, or even make a base on the bottom. Attacking directly, I would say something as big as this is going to be better than attacking them directly. I would assume that maybe you thought that this is going to happen, which it could. This is definitely a possibility. You could start with here and then attach. I think just attaching is fine. Black wants second line territory. That's perfectly fine. I would end it with something like this, and then I would Tanuki, because the bottom is big. You can even attach, and then play here, and the bottom is bigger. It's not that the group on the top side is weak. It's just that they're not weak enough to add another move, basically. When black plays here, that's when you would add another move. So if you're really worried about black making the right side larger, then we wouldn't attach, we'd play something here. And the idea being is if black plays a move like this, then they have 3 large nice moves. You can invade almost anywhere. And if they don't, say they play another move, you can always reduce the right side with a shoulder hit. In the actual game, we connected like this. That's a little interesting. I would just go up. Uh, it's well, I guess you have to worry about this, but getting the outside is going to be a lot bigger than worrying about your opponent connecting underneath. And if your opponent connects, then well, they messed up because now you can connect your group, or potentially you um, get to fight both. You get to fight both groups at the same time. So jumping is going to be better. Uh, so I guess this is perfectly fine. I'd imagine the opponent might play something like this, and then just net. So now you get your choice of connecting under either one, but white is out in the center, and they're fine giving up a few stones. Uh, this is just not reading at all. So normally you would play here, and black is just going to get this ko, which the ko is just too good. Otherwise, black would play here, and maybe you get something like this. But we have 1, 2, 3. Black has 4 here and 3 here, but we can never capture this group. So if we cut, black will play here, and we can't ladder. We can play here, but black wins the capturing race. There's also just black could let you live as well, just in normal terms. Just like black can just let you live, and if you play here, that's fine. But black will go ahead and try capturing everything. So we did a little bit of reading. We bailed out, which is good. But unfortunately, we made black a lot thicker than we should have. So just skip the Ajikeshi and jump right into playing the move. This move is not necessary. Your opponent is basically not fully connected. One thing is to attack the shape directly, so maybe white actually needed to force this first before playing. But white kind of has to just play in a way where they have to give up these stones anyways. So in this case, if we were to attack directly, now when white plays this one, maybe they get this. I don't know if... I think black can just play here. And because of this, black is happy to capture these stones. So white's in a bit of a pickle. Maybe they just connect. And then black will have to figure out how to handle this group. But then again, black is like absolutely separating white, right? We can be very, very aggressive here. So in this case, I think we just need to play here, or we needed to attach to resolve this position. Attaching resolves in several ways. So for example, we get to this position, and I think if you play here, you have to capture, but it leaves extra cutting points. You could play this one. It will get a little bit dicey. I think the correct... Someone can correct me, but I think the correct solution is this one. And then capture. Capture is important. If you don't capture, essentially, black is going to play this move. And if you block, the Atari, and lo and behold, you only have one eye. So that's why we're capturing the extra stone. Okay, so in this case, if we become extra aggressive, white needed to play this move, or they would have to give up the 3 stones unbearably. I see this a lot from Q players. You really do not want to do this shape next to a corner. And the reason being is, like, later in the game, you may want to just be able to directly invade like this. And sometimes the opponent will give you this sort of shape, which means you've reduced the corner a bit. Otherwise, they might try something like this. And whether or not you can live, I'm not sure, but I think that this is a shape that should be able to live because of the outside. You can also play here. This is a shape that lives. White can try certain things, but because of the outside cut, white usually protects first and then allows black to live. Otherwise, we get into this position where we're trying to kill the opponent, but we're not exactly fully connected underneath, and then we need to worry about the outside shape as well. So we can't really save or kill black completely unless we resolve the Aji. But when we play here, the normal follow-up is this move, and then we either jump out or we make a base. And a 2-space base isn't ideal, and neither is a 3, so we play here. But we ended up giving our opponent a really large corner for a very small base, which our opponent can use to make their stones stronger. So in this case, we just need to extend, and if the opponent takes our base, we need to jump. The normal continuation would be something like this. And I think we can go. Can we play this? Let me. I think this is the usual move, or something like this. You can also just go ahead and attack the group as well, since white coming to attack the 2-space jump is not a great way of attacking black. Black can force white to bring a move out, and then we can jump out and fight. In the game, we attached. We're not attached, but we shoulder hit, and we're only going to give white better shape. So in a situation where, technically speaking, black does have extra strength, right? But we also, that strength is right next to ours. We can actually just double hunting here. And you should continue to threaten the opponent, simply because even if they get the Atari and they get the turn, you're putting a lot of pressure on the opponent to build good shapes. And when you have the good shapes, now later, let's say that they jump out, the position's resolved, say they come back and live. Well, now you can see how the center is starting to fill up with white stones, and it gives white a lot of leeway in how to play the rest of the game. So some of your goals would be to block black on this side, block black on this side. Later, you can just approach or attach for a base. What you don't want to just try and do is just split the side, right? Because either way you go, black is going to take your extension away from you, and then like you're giving them a way in. But with something like this, or something like this move, the center becomes more viable, and we can do this because black gave us this shape here. In the actual game, we extended. Oh yeah, the other thing is that if we didn't have like these touching stones, and you just played, and you just played here, white gets this tiger's mouth. So that's also another reason why we play the Atari, is because we want to be able to answer, and we can answer when we play the Atari. Because now they're forced to capture, and we can just run away. But white didn't actually have a good timing for this. But I would continue attacking this group. So, for example, this is a good way to attack. Right now, like, you're threatening to capture some more stones. Black shape is not feeling very good. So maybe they protect, maybe they don't. I don't know. But now you can focus on playing another other moves or try attacking them even further. I would probably just make a base and make my group solid. This is a very large corner at this time of the game. In the actual game, we went for the split. I went over this earlier, but generally not a good idea to try to split a side when you can reduce with a shoulder hit. Both sides are low on the third line, so we don't really need to focus on splitting at all. I will say this has a nice follow-up, so if the opponent does play here, you can play this move, and it makes your top side group a lot more easier to be flexible with. Okay, we got the left side. That's pretty big. Opponent played the Atari. We didn't capture. We played good shape. This is good. Okay, no complaints here. And the opponent played this one. So, what do we do when we have low stones on all on one side and the opponent has a high stone and they're reducing everything that we've ever wanted? You need to attack something. You need to make noise. I'm going to butcher the saying because I never remember it, but you need to make noise in the west in order to attack the east. And the one way we do that is we're going to make noise in the north to attack the south. And the one way we can do that is just literally attaching. Attack the weak point, right? Uh, I see this often. Like we're in a position where the opening's done. We're done with the opening. We now need to focus on the middle game. And what can we do in the middle game? We need to be aggressive. We need to look at what our opponent has, what we have. There's a lot of things to consider what we need to do. And I think the easiest way to look at this is, does my opponent have weak groups? If the answer is yes, figure out how to attack them. And don't just attack them for purely, attacking sense. We need to attack them in a way that is profitable. So for example, if our opponent cuts without the peep here, they can't really save these stones. They can try. I know it's slightly different, so they're going to continue being this way. And you can see that maybe they get the turn, we have to answer, and they get to link up, or they kick. And they still need to fix. Otherwise, the peep will be devastating. So here we're at a junction where we force our opponent to make shape. We've gained a little bit of thickness on the bottom. We sacrificed some points in the corner, but we split the groups. So now we actually have a real attack target that we can probably attack. And one thing you can do is play something like this. We can play here, attack everything at once. Playing this move means that you're really trying to swallow these stones, but you're allowing the opponent to bring out these ones. If you play here, it's probably a little bit too soft. Maybe the opponent won't answer, or if you do answer, how do you follow up, type of thing. And I think you can play here. You would just be giving up the one stone, which is fine. Generally, the opponent might try to attack, trying to separate these stones to be super weak. So we need to be very careful how we play this. We can play a little bit more conservative. Issue with playing this way is white is going to also kind of finesse their way out. So it's a very difficult position, but I think without touching any stones, we can play this way. And if you can play this way, you're using your thickness correctly. Remember that this group, while it does have some shape, it's not fully alive. You have some moves to remove eye space, and especially if you get it surrounded, that's super important. So this is how I would attack the center. Here, do you need to break the left side? The question, well, I guess the real answer is, like, can you count this and say, like, okay, my opponent has too many points, I need to stop them from making second line territory, or do you play in a way that allows you to make use of the center and it makes it easier for you, right? So, like, for something like this, um, you can probably attach as well. And this way, like, if the opponent comes out, and eventually they're aiming for the three stones, of course. So we need to be super careful. Maybe we make this exchange once, we come back here, we play this one, and then we can extend. And we can see that, like, our group is actually becoming super well, and our opponent is stuck really low. So now we potentially might have points here as well. Uh, the other thing is, like, there is a potential cut here. There still might be some issues with this group. This group on the bottom is fine. So in terms of, like, favor, I'd still say white is leading. Black although black does have the points on the top side. So in the game, white bumped. I don't know if we can, with these stones, it's a little bit harder. One thing I would do here is just play this move. If the opponent turns, I'd let them have it. But giving the opponent this shape is a little awkward. Because now if you play this way, like you're just allowing them to connect their stones up, and the extra stone did not help you on the right side, it only helped white in the center. We do need to answer that. Tiger's Mouth is interesting. I don't know why we're not playing this move. If we're worried about this, that's fine. But is the goal to attack this group or to attack this one? That's really what I would ask. If the goal is to attack both groups, then maybe we needed to think about a different move. For example, something like this. But I don't think you can attack both. I think you need to force the opponent to make an exchange here. Maybe you can do this. I don't know if this is playable, but if I do quick reading, my intuition says that it's possible to play this way because of this. So like white has a cutting point here, so they can't exactly kill the corner, and they also owe a move here. So after this, you can just cut on the top side, and white's not fully alive either. So you can also go ahead and actually you could just kill this, and eventually white's going to come back and play here. So white can't really cut here. They can play this one though. And in this case, we can connect. And if the opponent plays like this, we just connect, and then we attack the two stones. So white's in actually a lot of trouble with his bump. White has to awkwardly connect like this, and then black should be able to play here. In the actual game, we came out. That's the wrong direction. We need to break out here. Undoubtedly, we need to break out here. Potentially, white will just go for the two stones. But white has 2.5 groups to worry about. The two stones are half a group. I don't know if white's actually going to care about them. But with something like this, you can see that white's actually dying on the top side. And first of all, you can cut here. If they extend or jump out, you play here and then jump. So like black is fully connected, white is not. White has some shape issues. So this unfortunately means that we cannot answer the way that we want to. We might just need to connect and then run with the group out. But we're handling two groups, and black is going to be able to very much attack both. Here's a good opportunity to just fix, even if the opponent gets the peep, they no longer can do any of the shenanigans, and you're fully connected this way. If they try cutting you off, which is possible, you're going to be able to play this way. And essentially, like, black is making a weak group for the sake of attacking, but we're pretty thick, and we have 1/3 of an eye, kind of, because there's a ko here for black if you try capturing the stone. But you're pretty thick on the right side, so I wouldn't really worry about it. And if they do play here, you can always just let them have it. They don't need to try and you don't need to try and connect everything up. Like with something like this, they owe a move. You can even play here, and this would be a better way of separating. So like you can just say, hey, you can have it, and then connect, make shape is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so in the game, we're building the center, which is good. Unfortunately, we probably should not answer that way. We should just let black come out. I'm assuming you're really worried about losing points in the center, but the points usually made in the center are not very much. Black got really greedy here, just keep pushing and then attack. If white's dead on the top side, you don't have to worry about the points at the center. Because the top side is going to be worth way more than whatever white gets in the center. You also have a lot of points on the bottom right too, so like there's no reason to play this way. Again, I'm not sure why we're playing this move. When you can be a little bit more direct with this. So if they play here, you can attack black. And if they connect, you can save the one stone off. So black probably, the way that black is playing, they probably don't want to be cut off. And then you can break in. So like, you're going to lose points, but they're going to lose points in the center. That's kind of how most games go. All right. I think I've kind of reviewed most of the game. To my understanding, there was a lot of kind of like not fully understanding the strength of the groups, and I think it would be best to review this video and kind of understand the strength of your groups and the cutting points, especially what happened on the top side. The bottom side was fine. Top side definitely need to go over a little bit more for both players, especially the cut here, the small like reading mistake. Good thing you didn't commit to it. That's fine. Answering here wasn't super good, and then black really needed to make a decision on are we attacking this group or are we attacking this group. Any questions? Okay, you're really quiet. I can't hear you, David. I can't hear you. Oops. All right, give me one second. Chat. Oh, in the review. No, the stone on the right side is not super good. The I mean, if you're worried about the ladder, that's nothing to be worried about. I'm pretty sure this one works too, right? And this one's in a better position, but like you shouldn't really be worried about a cut that's baseless. You don't need to. If your opponent wants to make another weak group next to a weak group, that's fine. You shouldn't be worried about that. Yeah, no problem. All right, let's go on. Move on to Oscar versus Aki. For you two, I just want to say that I'm probably going to go over a lot of things, so I recommend writing some notes down. And when I say something is Joseki, kind of learn that. So here, this is Joseki, which is nice. We play this way, and then the follow up as like this, and then white can Tanuki. This is the Joseki. Unfortunately, we played this move. I see this a lot. Generally, a tiger's mouth in this direction with a move on the first line is never going to be good. You have a 99% chance of being wrong. So in this case, like this is actually going to be super big. So if they play here now, you're moving one stone, this one, to here. Right? So if you look at the Joseki, you can see the large difference in this position. Now white actually has to respond and worry about this. And then black is the one that gets the move on the outside. So continuing, we didn't need to answer this. I think this is pretty big. We do need to save the stone, but also you could probably get away with the peep. I would probably play this one because it's a part of strength that black wants. It's very simple. It's an Atari, and then if black Tanukis, we get this double peep. right? And the opponent needs to answer this. However they answer, the turn is going to be big for us. Okay. And again, we did have to answer that. We can do this without pushing, right? Like, the opponent is definitely 100% going to answer. We can push. The reason we are going to exclude this is because of our liberties. If you jump, the opponent gets the Atari, right? If you jump here, they don't get the Atari and you can still block. So you have the option of pushing and then, making this bigger. But you can also just play something like this, right? You can also play here. This is going to be a little bit more uniform, and your opponent plays this way. We can ladder into our stone or to the edge of the board. Continuing, we keep pushing. So this is something I see people who just started or maybe have been playing a while but don't fully understand like shape concepts. We connected to protect the second line cut, right? So if we don't, we have this push, Atari, Atari, and then here. Or maybe it's the other way around. They give up a stone, take, and you get to take these 2 stones. How can we? So one thing that we look without one thing that is common, like we saw this, right? If we play 5 and 3, we capture the cutting stone, but we have to give up these stones, right? So one thing we can do is we can preemptively play a tiger's mouth. So now if the opponent pushes, we have excellent shape, and there's no way of our opponent cutting through because we can capture all the stones. And what usually happens is this gives you leverage to play this move because now the opponent can't push and cut, right? So this is a good follow-up. If we just connect, then later when we play here, there's going to be some awkward Aji that we have to protect, and then like we thought we were going to get the left side, but we didn't because we're playing Knight's moves that weren't protected. The crosscut is a little bit dangerous, assuming you read this because you play this way, right? But you can just play here directly. I would stay away from pushing from behind. It's generally not a good idea. Eventually, you're going to want to play a Knight's move. And usually, I'd say 2 or 3 is the limit. So just play the Knight's move directly like this. Giving the opponent this is too much. And this one just requires a little bit of reading. Like if your opponent extends down, do you need another move? Let's say you play here, right? The opponent plays here. Do you need to answer this? Do you need to answer this? This one would be a yes. So the question is, do I win 3 liberties versus many? And the answer is yes. So we get a move. We don't need to answer this if we play on the outside. Taking is very thick, but we don't need to play that way. So black is kind of like going for a very large area theme. I would take this chance to play a move on the bottom. Something like this. Kind of influence your opponent to dive deep, right? So if they play like this and your opponent shoulder hits or jumps in, you can go ahead and attack them ferociously. But we are learned players, and we've learned to play in the corner, which is correct. And we protected the wall. That's perfect. This is fine. What I wouldn't recommend for white is like you're already connected, right? So like these 4 points aren't really worth it. Just play a move on the bottom, separate the stones. So if our opponent plays this way, we can make a base. If they play on the other side, we can make a base, and both parties are happy. Maybe not black because you got to invade, but we should learn when to Tanuki and not play Puppy Go. And see, this is Puppy Go. The corner's big, but the bottom is even bigger. Black played a large move. It's good. Principled moves. It's good. I would play this move, but this move is fine. I would not attach stones. So one thing you can do is you could kick. But you can also play Knight's Move. Knight's Moves are common. You can also play this way as well. If your goal was to make the center bigger, this is the way you would do it. Is you would play a move, peep the shape, and then you attach. And if your opponent tries playing this way, you get to separate the stones, and then you can attack the 3 stones. I just want to make sure I keep watch of time. So we haven't finished our shape. Normally, what happens is this is Joseki, but also it's a like a mid-game Joseki as well. You often see opponents attaching stones, and the general rule of thumb is we want to extend, simply because if we don't, the opponent plays a tiger's mouth and it's really good shape. So we play here, they block, and then you can play here, or play the move that you did in the game. So here you'd still want to play this. Black wants to block, and then you can extend. Good shape. At this point, maybe it's a little tough to consider, or maybe it's tough to read. But our shape is finished, right? After we make this move, we actually have ice space here. It's all filled with white stones, no black stones at all. We now need to consider that black has a very large center, right? So maybe we should try and do something like attach, do some peeping, cutting, play on the top side. Because when we play this way, we're only giving our opponent more stones. And black definitely blocked correctly, but you probably could have blocked with something like this, or just jumped out. We are incorrectly chasing these stones. We should just extend, or maybe not make these moves at all. But if we're playing here, we should just extend. You're trying to surround stones. That doesn't make sense. This isn't... So we capture stones, which is nice. You can actually just play here first, and then this one. In fact, you probably should just not play here anyways. You should play this way, and kind of just go for all of the JoJo. So like you're breaking through, you cut through here. You can capture 3 stones later, and then you've kind of broken into the area. So now like black is kind of panicked that they need to keep all their points. But like this, we kind of given black this like really large wall, and I would say it's pretty hard to come back from here. Most of the time, beginners have a hard time dealing with these like large moyos. So sometimes it's better to just invade early. So for example, oh, I can't. Apparently, I can't click soon enough. So for example, here we probably didn't need to answer these moves at all, and any one of these moves could have been a stone down on the bottom. So hopefully, you guys go back on this game and you consider learning this Joseki, not capturing directly, fixing cutting points, not crawling from behind, and then considering whether or not you can actually Tanuki a certain position. Any questions? Okay. Let me stop